Welcome to Illini Drive WPGU. I'm your host, Brendyn Jones. Joined as always, Nithin, Reddy. It's Wednesday, gloomy Wednesday evening. Nithin, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited for the tournament. It's right around the corner. Although the rain definitely puts a damper in my day.
Definitely.
I think we've talked about this, but I'm definitely more of a snow guy than a rain guy.
Yeah, I feel that.
So rain. I'm just not meant to live in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, don't move out there, bro. Seattle's beautiful though. Yeah, I mean, it's been a bummy day. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Brendyn, talk to me.
I had two midterms today.
Okay.
Media law, which wasn't as hard as I thought it was, but
that's a lot of just memorization.
Yeah, it was a lot of memorization of stuff, and wording's a little weird. It's all the law talk, whatever. Shout out Ben Holden. So that was a little weird to do this morning, and then I had a African American history, which is that specific class's history of hip hop. That was a little better, but it was a lot of writing.
Okay.
Which I wasn't prepared for.
What's a test like that like? Because I've never taken it.
I've never. Yeah. So I mean, just in Afro in general, it's all different, but in this specific one, it was a whole bunch of questions, just about the history of different DJs, artists, movements in hip hop, and historical context surrounding different events in hip hop history.
Is it more open ended? Because I feel like that class has to be.
Yeah, it's very open ended in terms of there's not 100% it's like any history class, right? There's not 100% correct answers, but there's the different concepts and stuff, and you can work around that.
Nice.
So there's 25 questions where I had to write a paragraph pretty much each.
Oh, jeez.
So it was just a lot of writing.
That's a lot
that I thought it was going to be not that much writing, but it is what it is. I took the class on purpose. But yeah, I mean, excited to be in here. That's all that matters. Made it to Illini Drive. And then tonight, I don't know if Gavin Good, Gavin Good. I don't know if he's ever been on the show. He was actually on Illini Sports Night last night.
Oh, you tuned in?
Yeah, I saw a little bit of it.
Appreciate it.
But he is doing a pre-tournament podcast, I think, and me and Gabby are going to be on it when I go back to my apartment. So I'm excited. I think the
he knows
day
his stuff, so that's going to be a fun
Yeah, I love Gavin. Love Gavin so much. I think the day is going to end better than it started. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm excited to be in here, talk about Friday's matchup between Illinois and the Drexel Dragons. Man, that's weird to say.
Yeah.
Weird to say because...
What's weird about it? The Drexel Dragons part? Or
Drexel Dragons love the alliteration.
I do love it too.
But just in 2 short years going from not making the tournament, losing in the second round, or the second day of the Big Ten tournament, to then going to be the first seed in the NCAA tournament, facing a team like the Drexel Dragons, who went on a run in their conference tournament, and that's the reason they got into.
They were a 6th seed in their.
They were the 6th seed in their tournament. Beat Elon in the conference championship. But yeah, I mean, shout out to Drexel, man. They made it. Heard their name called on Selection Sunday, and I don't know how many times it's happened. I don't know if Drexel has ever played Illinois. I don't know the history of this matchup. I probably should have came in here and researched a little bit, but it's been a tough week. So,
I mean, who really cares though about the one time Illinois played Drexel in 1980?
Right, exactly. But what matters is this Friday, right? Drexel is 12-7, and Illinois is 23-6. Obviously, Illinois' 6 losses probably much better than Drexel's
I think
7.
that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, I think so. Right now, ESPN Matchup Predictor has Illinois at a 96.2% chance to win.
That's too low.
It is too low, I think.
It's got to be 98,
The spread
99.
is 22.5. Illinois is minus 22.5. I like that. But it also scares me because I don't think they're going to cover that.
I don't think they will either.
But yeah, I mean, look, this is the Drexel Dragons. Let me give you a little stat breakdown of the Drexel Dragons. Cameron Winter, the starting guard, scores 17 points a game.
All-conference first team.
All-conference first team. He is their leading guard. He is who is going to put up the most points. But they do have 4 guys averaging double figures. James Butler, one of their forwards, who also leads them in rebounds with 9 a game. We'll see that matchup. He's a 6'8" forward.
He's really more of a center, though. They left him at forward. He's going to be maybe not guarding Kofi because they might put Bickerstaff on him, but he's going to be in the post in the low block a lot.
It'll be interesting to see because obviously when you get guys from conferences like these, Their 6'9", 6'8" guys are going to be some of the biggest.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens between them.
How do you guard a 7 foot, 285? How do you guard
a 7 foot man that's built like a tank? I don't know, man. If they had the answer, he wouldn't be a second team All-American. Should have been first team All Big Ten, in my opinion. But
he was.
I thought he was second team.
No, I'm pretty sure in both media and coaches he was first team.
Where did I see he was second team?
Yeah, you know what, Brendyn, keep going. I'll do some research real quick.
Thanks, Nithin. Thanks, appreciate it. Anyway. So I think look for a lot of double teams, triple teams in the post with Kofi Cockburn. They definitely don't want it to be a Kofi game, because if you give the chance and Kofi's able to have the first half like he had against Ohio State, or just a really good game like he's had in past where he's up there almost in the 30-point range, that can't be an easy game for Drexel. So they definitely want. I don't know if they want it to be an IO game, but I feel like they'd rather.
Kofi was first team for both.
He was first team for both? Thank you for correcting me. Sorry for the disrespect. Mr. Cockburn, please don't dunk on me. But, yeah, so, but Drexel, right? I think that they're going to want to make this a guard game, have Io have to make shots, which, I mean, we know he can, but you'd rather, it's easier to be off on making shots than it is in dunking the basketball, right?
Yeah.
But, yeah, this team, going back to the team stats. Sorry. They were 6th in their conference.
I think the really important stuff is their top 3 guys.
Yes.
When you're looking at this, because Cameron Winter is their number 1 guy. He kind of does play like Io a little bit. 3-level scorer, really likes mid-range jumpers, was great at attacking the rim. Can shoot threes, is more than willing to shoot threes, but prefers to drive. I mean, he's a 42% three-point shooter, but he's someone that wants to get to the rim. Then, as you talked about, James Butler, your traditional roller big that likes to get on the block, make some hooks, also just roll the basket, get dunks, easy layups. And lastly, TJ Bickerstaff. I think he's probably the most interesting matchup among Illinois defenders, because we've seen Illinois in previous years struggle against these sort of modern day lengthy wings that have the ability to do a lot of things. Bickerstaff can really put the ball on the floor well. And at 6'9", it's going to be tough for a guy like DeMonte or Jacob Grandison to be able to stop him inside while also keeping him outside.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, looking at this matchup, it's not a lot. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that Drexel can beat Illinois.
Yeah.
They can. I mean,
I'm not too worried, but that is the one glaring matchup.
100%. Anytime you step on a basketball court, you can lose. But I'm not going to sit here and say that, Drexel should scare Illinois. But these are the matchups you have to look forward to, Yeah. What do you think Illinois has to do? Okay, so how would you give me 2 scenarios, right? Coming after this game, say that they win, right? What does that win need to look like in order for you to feel confidence? Because I look at their side of the bracket, their region, and I'm a little worried about around the 32 if they would have to face Loyola. I'm worried about the Sweet 16 most definitely, and the Elite 8 and the Final Four, right? Their path to the national championship is not easy.
It's not.
So first game in the Big Ten or in the NCAA champion or tournament for any of these guys on the roster, right? Unless I don't think Grandison played at Holy Cross, right? Did he didn't.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. So maybe Grandison played a game or 2 at Holy Cross in the NCAA tournament. But for most guys, this is their first and only experience in the NCAA tournament. Say they win on Friday. What does that win need to look like in order for you to feel more confident that this team can continue the hot stretch that they've been on for the last month and a half?
Actually, Brendyn, I want to correct you. I'm pretty sure Tyler Underwood played 1 game in the NCAA tournament.
Oh, yeah.
With Oklahoma State.
Shout out Tyler Underwood. The most experienced, in my opinion, the best player on the roster.
Okay. Well.
No, I'm dead serious. Anyway, go ahead. He made that 3 at the end of the record.
He did. I mean, he never got that dunk, though.
Yeah, so I don't have the TU on my body, but hey, maybe when he's in the league.
Yeah, so what Illinois needs to do as a team to make me feel comfortable, I think it starts defensively, because that's where you can lose games. We saw Virginia 3 years ago lose to UMBC because Jairus Lyles went off and UMBC's offense took over. And Virginia, they didn't have a great offense, but they had one that should have been enough. And it didn't work out for that reason alone. The only way I see Illinois losing, and I don't see them losing by any means, is if there's just an insanely hot Cameron Winter performance and you see Drexel just hit like 13 or 14 threes. Aside from that, I really just want to see Illinois play solid defense early, get off to like a 15-4 lead, and just coast the rest of the way. Win by 17, 18 points, make it look easy, because even though of late they've played great, throughout the season there haven't been a ton of blowout wins. It's been a lot of close games where the Illini have great closers, but had to tough it out at the end.
Definitely. Yeah, I think it's the same way for me. Obviously, barring some legendary tournament performance by Cameron Winter or TJ Beckerstaff, I don't really see this team having a chance against Illinois. That's just me. I mean, but that's mostly the case in every first 16 matchup that we see in the NCAA tournament. But yeah, I mean, you really have to be able to handle this team because, I mean, you look after this, right? You got Loyola, who we know what they did 4 years ago or 3 years ago.
And they're probably a better team now.
Yeah, exactly. We saw what they did. They're a better team. They're ranked now. I don't think they were ranked going into that tournament.
They were an 11 seed, I think.
Yeah, they were an 11 seed.
They're an 8 seed now.
Right. And I think they could even have that argument to be a little bit higher.
Yeah, I think like a 5 would have been fair.
Exactly. If they didn't play in a conference that they do. And then, you know, you look at after that, maybe seeing Oklahoma State, which is
even before that, like the Georgia Tech matchup is not any easier than Loyola.
So this team has a rough any scenario you look at, they could see Tennessee, they could see Oklahoma State, they see Georgia Tech. There's a lot of rough scenarios for this team, and I think to come out and just have that statement against Drexel, yeah, sure, it's Drexel. Yeah, sure, I don't want to say they didn't deserve it, but before their conference tournament, not a lot of people had them picked as to getting that automatic bid. I think you really have to come out and just be like, look, this is Drexel, we're Illinois. Let's do what we did against Rutgers, right? Let's do what we did against Michigan even. And you know, from the first tip off to the end of the game, it's just pedal on the floor. Like, we have to
just control the game.
And
don't let it ever really get within a 3-possession game in the second half.
Because that's what happened against Ohio State. I mean, you saw that they were up 15 points early in the first half.
It was 27-12, I think.
Yeah, early in that first half, they were up really big against Ohio State. Went into overtime and almost lost that game because they weren't able to control the game closing the first half and throughout all of the second half. So that's what scares me. This team.
Who needs to step up though for you? Because I don't necessarily know if it needs to be Kofi or if it needs to be Io.
No, I don't know if anybody really needs to step up because that's been the theme of the last 6 games. Is that people have stepped up, right?
The Curbellos,
Trent Frazier, Grandison, Adam Miller, all of them have stepped up. What I would want to see more is just like a cohesive, like what we saw against the first Wisconsin matchup. What we even saw against the second Wisconsin matchup for the first 30.
What we saw in the Michigan
minutes, right? What we saw in the Michigan matchup was just people playing together.
Yeah.
There weren't any like mislaps, you know.
The balanced attack has been huge of late.
Right. It was balanced. Everybody was getting their shots. Everybody was understanding what was happening. And I think they kind of went away from that at the Ohio State game. They kind of, in the beginning, it was that. It was everybody, you know, Curbelo had however many points in the first half. Kofi was dominating in the first half. Guys were getting their looks, right? But then when the game kind of came down to crunch time, they resorted back to what they were 2 months ago, and which is just, you know, Ao DeSumo show, right?
Yeah.
As much as that's fun and as much as that has led this team to a first seed for the most part, you don't need that necessarily to beat this team.
You're also playing your best ball when you're not reliant on it, when you get Andre Curbelo attacking, and 100%. Then Io gets to do that backdoor cut into a layup or dunk. It's when you have a team playing together and not. I know people focus on like that Wally Zerbiak clip where he's talking about how I don't like Io the way he took that last shot. I don't want to give that credence, but the point kind of makes sense in that this team plays better when they play together.
Yeah, of course.
And when you have those moments where you're just slowing the ball down, you're trying to get one shot, you're trying to get to the end of the game, and you're just taking these bad pull-up jumpers.
Yeah. That's
when this team is at its worst. When it's at its best is when Andre Curbelo is running and Trent Frazier's on the wing and Kofi Coburn is attacking the rim off of it. You got DeMonte Williams spotting up in the corner. When you're having a team play together and they're playing as a unit and not just hero ball.
Exactly. I think, you said it best. That's what you have to look forward to in this game. And I don't know. It doesn't scare me. Like, this is probably the most boring game we could talk about, right? Because, I mean, knock on wood, of course, you would hate for them to get upset, and then we're going to be here on Monday with...
That would be the worst Monday.
Well, I wouldn't even know what to say. Like,
I don't even know if I could come in on Monday.
Right, we might have to cancel the show because what would we talk about? We'd just be like, you know what, Cameron Winter had 42 points, and there was nothing that anybody could do to stop him.
I'll just put a hoodie on.
Yeah, we'll play music.
Close to me, show me crying.
We'll take requests for different songs, and we'll just play sad music for you guys.
Yeah,
but hopefully, I mean, that's not going to happen, right? Knock on wood. I'm knocking on wood. Guys, there's wood right here. I'm knocking on it every time.
We have to. It's the inner Illinois fan that's experienced the heartbreak time and time again.
But this could easily be a game that Illinois wins by 7.
It could be. I think that's a disappointing outcome, though.
And that would be disappointing. And you should feel that, like, there's going to be the guys that will be like, oh, man, it's the NCAA tournament. Everybody's, playing their best basketball right now. A win by 7 is good. It's not. It's not good when you're Illinois and you've been playing your best basketball and you truly believe you're a 1 seed or truly believe you're deserving of that 1 seed, truly believe you are one of the best teams in the country, maybe even the best team in the country if you really count in strength of schedule. A 7-point win isn't going to do it, right? Because you're not going to get...
But it's also not going to make me push the panic button.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to discredit what this team has done over the last month of basketball because it's the best I've ever seen Illinois play in my time. I mean, I don't really remember 2005 that well because I was just too young. Mm-hmm. But from what I've seen, this is a team that it has national prominence. But I also know in the back of my head that they will play some close games. And that's just their nature. If anything, to me, it's kind of like a wake-up call if that happens. It's kind of like a smaller version of the Michigan State game happening. And then you can kind of bounce back from that. My concern would be if you just come out flat against Loyola or Georgia Tech and you're trailing like 20-4 early.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, like we've seen that against Penn State. We've seen that against Northwestern early in the year. 2 teams that aren't tournament teams.
Yeah.
I mean, it scares me. It does. But I think that they need to, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of questions around this team, not nationally, but in Illinois fans' heads, because 3 months ago, we saw them losing to teams that they shouldn't have lost to. We saw them playing down to the level of their competition, stuff like that. We saw them when we thought that this team was the best team in the Big Ten, which, I mean, they kind of proved that they were in the last 2 months. Yeah. But coming into the season, and we said, man, they have a kind of easy schedule in the beginning of their first Big Ten season, and it really ramps up. They did better at the harder part of their schedule
at the end
than they did, than they did at the beginning. Something that we really didn't expect to happen, right? But I think that they need to come out here and just ball out. I mean, there's nothing more to it. There's nothing more to say except for score predictions. So
wait, Brendyn, that reminded me. What did we predict their records would be? How many losses did we say going into the year? We should have written this down.
Dang, we did, because one of us had like 6, one of us had 5.
I think. I can't remember.
Bums, man. I feel like I wrote it somewhere. I'm gonna start looking, but that would be wild if we got it. One of us got it right.
Well, kind of, because we didn't count the Big Ten tournament. So
one of us got it right. Because they didn't count. They played all their games that were scheduled, right? They never.
Yeah, so someone got the regular season right.
Somebody got the regular season right.
Although the way we predicted it was not right at all.
But we're gurus, so it doesn't even matter, man.
Yeah.
Basketball gods in here.
Oh yeah.
And one of us was only 1 off. That's insane.
Yeah, we had pretty similar records.
Yeah, I think we were like only different in 1 game. But this is coming up on Friday. Nithin, what is your score prediction, and why will Drexel win this basketball game?
I mean, okay, don't even joke about it. I mean, come on, Brendyn.
I'm just kidding, man. Just trying to have some.
All right,
some fun.
So it's the first game of the tournament. So I think there's going to be a little bit of sluggishness to start. I mean, ideally, as I said, I'd love to see Illinois get off to a hot start. I think it's going to be kind of a slow first half, maybe in the 30s, and then it kind of kicks up in the second half. I'm going to go with 79-63 Illinois.
Yeah. I like that. I'm gonna write. Guess what I'm gonna do?
I was gonna do
this
that
down.
Too.
Yeah, I'm gonna write this down, and then we could even. No, I don't want to do that. I was gonna say predict the second game, but we don't know what's gonna happen, so I don't even want to do that.
We could talk about it though.
Because, I'm down to talk about it, man.
Because it is 2 completely different matchups.
100%. So you had 79-63.
Yep.
63 Illinois.
Drexel, right?
Drexel winning. Yeah. Oh, keep saying it, Nithin. It's gonna happen. Knock on wood.
I mean, this
knocking
is
on wood every
bad what
time.
we're doing. We're so superstitious about
Yeah, I'm very
this.
superstitious, but at the same time, I love the joke, so it's weird.
Yeah, we're not Michael Scott. We're not a little stitious. We are superstitious.
Superstitious. For me, man, I think that it's close for like the first 6 minutes, and everybody's kind of like sitting on their butt and they're like sweating, and then something happens where just Drexel runs out of gas. They're excited that it's their tournament. Illinois kind of looks past them just a little bit.
Yeah.
Looks onto that Loyola matchup, which I feel like everybody's kind of anticipating too. Interstate, teams competing. One that went on a historic run last time they were in the tournament, and one that is kind of the new and improved Illinois that we haven't seen in 10, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that after about the 6-minute mark, Illinois picks it up. They realize Brad yells a little bit. And then
a little bit or a lot of it?
He's screaming. He's screaming. This is a Brad we haven't seen since 2018. But yeah, and then they kind of just coast the rest of the way, and they beat this team. I'm gonna say 81-60. No, 81-60. That's what
okay.
81-60. That's what I'm feeling. Bam.
Solid.
I love it.
I mean, if either of those outcomes happen, I think we'll come in and be happy. Obviously, depending on the round of 32 that happens, because that's going to be Sunday. But I mean, I feel pretty good going into this game. I think this game is probably going to be similar to what happened to Virginia 2 years ago in their first round, if you remember that, where maybe not to that degree, but Virginia was losing, and they were losing early by a decent amount because they came out with nervous energy. They came out knowing, hey, we've lost in the first round a year ago to UMBC. And that was detrimental to us. Mm-hmm. I could see Illinois, as you said, kind of struggling early. And then in the second half, just realizing, hey, we're Illinois. We are the better team. We are one of the best teams in the country. Let's go and win this game by double digits.
Love it. We're going to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the matchup between either Illinois and Loyola or Illinois and who am I? Oh, my God.
Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech. Thank you. If that happens, if we're so lucky that happens, and Illinois wins their first game. And then we're going to talk about our favorite matchups from the first round of the NCAA tournament. So stick with us on the Line of Drive 107.1 WPGU. Welcome back to Illini Drive on 107.1 WPGU. It's that time. It's March. We're wilding. This,
as John Rothstein has tweeted many, many times.
Man, he annoys me.
We sleep in May.
he's a
I know it's annoying, but it's a bit at this point.
Yeah,
so
it's just funny. His thing. He annoys me for other reasons, and we can get into that later. But
now you've got
it's just I just feel like every time it comes to like the what student athletes deserve in terms of compensation and
are you referring to the Jalen Johnson stuff?
It was the Jalen Johnson stuff, and then he was tweeting this weekend. He was like, "Man, can't you guys just be grateful you're playing the game of basketball?"
Oh, did he actually?
Yeah,
because I know in the past he's said some stuff pro players.
Yeah, he was this week. Geo Baker. Actually,
I saw that.
Yeah, this will be a little Big Ten thing, but Geo Baker tweeted him, and he was like, "I see all these guys complaining about the different type of stuff that they have to go through in the bubble. Like, can't you guys just be happy? Like, it's not like last year and you're playing the game of basketball." And it's like,
yeah,
man, bro, like these guys are helping pay your salary, helping us, have this entertainment, helping me and Nithin have something to talk about every
advance us as journalists.
And they have to stay in a hotel room floor for the next 3 weeks, depending on how far they go. Like, can you cut them some slack? Sorry that they want some better situations for themselves. I don't know. It's
a weird state because like it feels like 95% of the people that follow this tend to side with the players.
Yeah,
and then there's a weird divide where it's like, oh, you should be grateful for that, but that sounds so antiquated.
It's goofy. It sounds so stupid. Like you should be grateful, and it's like the lack of self-awareness. It's like we're watching these guys perform, and they virtually get nothing in return except for maybe a college degree.
Yeah, the problem is when you get like, I don't remember if you remember like Wendell Carter Jr.'s mom saying like this is the equivalent of like slavery, and it's like that's too far. Like,
it's a little bit too far, but there's like I understand why the players are frustrated, especially when guys like John Rothstein, speak out about stuff that they really don't know that much about, and they don't have to go through themselves, and they get to sit back and make their checks off of the performances of the guys on the court. But that was a whole tangent.
Nice little
no
political
disrespect to John
basketball
Austin.
tangent
Love
in the
it.
middle.
Yeah, I mean, love it. It's a line out drive. Why not? It's a Wednesday show. We have fun. But no disrespect to John Rossi. He's a good journalist. But yeah. Illinois, after hopefully they beat Drexel, knocking on wood again, are either going to face Georgia Tech, the 9 seed, or Loyola Chicago. Are you scared about Sister Jean?
No, I would rather see Loyola because Georgia Tech has some dudes, specifically Moses Wright, and Jose Alvarado, that could give us trouble. I feel like Loyola's a really good team, but Illinois has the counters to everything Loyola is going to present. They're a good offensive team. Illinois is a great defensive team. You got great wing defenders. You got great guard defenders, specifically Trent Frazier. I would assume DeMonte Williams. Loyola also relies heavily on Cameron Crudwig. And it's obviously worked because they're, I think, 23-4 at this point?
As they should. I mean, according to like Ken Palm or something, he's one of the statistically best players in the nation.
Kofi Coburn, I think, would shut him down.
100%. I have no doubt in my mind.
Crudwig, he's great at. There's a reason why people compare him to Jokic because he's slithery, he's got great touch, and he's able to do a lot. But one, defensively, he's not going to be able to keep up with Kofi, and two, we saw what Kofi can do against some of these bigs. Like Luka Garza, the most skilled big in the country, shot, I think, 9 for 22 against Illinois. And Hunter Dickinson, just a complete no-show. I feel confident in that matchup. The Georgia Tech one does concern me a little.
And why does it concern you?
Because they have guys like Jose Alvarado is a tough guy to guard. He shoots well from the three. He's a really quick, really great perimeter defender. And Moses Wright is similar to what I talked about TJ Bickerstaff. He can do a lot inside and out from a bigger forward position. Like he's not going to necessarily be Kofi's responsibility, but when DeMonte or Jacob Grandison's guarding him, there's a mismatch there.
Yeah, 100%. I would also much rather see Loyola. Obviously, the matchups with Georgia Tech scare me a little bit, but do I think that Illinois is the better team? Obviously, right?
Yeah.
But I would much rather see Loyola. I think the storyline of Loyola versus Illinois,
it's
perfect.
Nice,
right? Because I mean, I don't know if I was talking about it with you this week or if I was talking about it with Josh last week, but the fact that basketball in Illinois is kind of exciting again, college basketball in Illinois, because I mean we've talked so much. I remember last year there was this whole debate within the NBA, or maybe that was 2 years ago, that everybody felt like the city that they were from was the mecca of basketball. You know, guys from New York, guys from LA, guys from the DMV, guys from Chicago, Detroit, all
Indiana,
felt like,
of course.
Yeah, Indiana. They all felt like they had kind of some sort of claim on, man, like this is the basketball city, right?
Yeah.
Like, all of these are basketball cities, but this is the basketball city. I think the only thing Illinois was really missing from that was just like really good college basketball.
It didn't help that a lot of guys were leaving the state. Iowa and Adam Miller have not completely brought it back, but they've brought back the idea of Illinois getting Chicago recruits.
Exactly. Getting Chicago recruits. Loyola has also brought the idea of getting kids from Chicago, getting kids from the Chicago area.
Yeah, Crudwig's an in-state guy.
Exactly. And he's has been one of statistically the best college basketball players this season. 4-year guy, has stayed there the whole time. Has really shown that, you know, this is something that can be sustainable for Loyola, right? We saw 3 years ago, man, maybe, okay, yeah, they had this amazing run that ended when they let Minnesota stick around in that game, come back and win. They could have made it to the national championship, right? But the fact that they're back and the fact that they're this year ranked and arguably better than that team was last year or 3 years ago is so much better and for the state of basketball in the state and in Illinois or in Chicago. So I think that's really what excites me. Also, you know, I want to see Sister Jean as much as possible. She's a lovely woman, and you know, I hate to go there and break her heart, but I mean, if we got to do, we got to do.
My one problem with Sister Jean is that it kind of takes away from Loyola. Like,
I agree.
How many people outside of, I'd say, Illinois, and specifically like guys like us that care about the players, could name, I'd say, 2 players on that team? Like,
not a lot, but everybody knows.
But everyone knows Sister Jean,
and the fact that they're also like a religious school, and she's like I don't know, her sister. Is that that's her
I
title,
don't
the
know.
sister.
I'm
not a
not
huge
Christian.
Catholic person, right? So, but they like I feel like there was this like mythos around her in that Final Four run that they had, which was like, oh man, it's Sister Jean doing it. Like she's praying hard, she's doing this, whatever. When that team was just like really, really good for that stretch.
They were good, and also they were in a very favorable
Right.
region because that was the Virginia region.
Exactly.
And that was where, like, I think the Elite Eight was like a 7-11 matchup or something like that. Something crazy.
But, yeah, I mean, I think that matchup would be really, really good for the state. That matchup would draw a lot of eyes. Obviously, Loyola is something that's been a national story. Illinois has had a lot of national. Did you see the CBS? They said their highest watched basketball game or college basketball game was the Illinois-Ohio State win.
That makes sense. Big Ten championship.
Right, of course. But it just seems like now everybody's eyes are in Illinois. You know, this time of year, every social media app, whether it's like Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitter, all just talking about March Madness. And it's weird to see guys that like, or people from like different parts of the country that are like, man, Illinois, there's no way they can lose this. They're going to win, da-da-da. Just weird feeling, you know what I mean?
It's a good feeling.
It's a good feeling. It's also a scary feeling. You never want to be the absolute favorite in March Madness. Yeah. I don't know about you, but like I would never want to be the number one favorite, but it is also nice.
Well, I mean, if you're saying would I want to be Gonzaga, I would definitely love to be Gonzaga right now.
Oh, it's just scary, bro. It's so much
scary, but like
I'd rather be like a 3 seed.
Well,
not for Illinois. I'm glad Illinois is a 1 seed, but I would rather my favorite team be a 3 seed because they can win a lot of games. But if you lose to a 1 seed, nobody's mad. But like Illinois could, lose to an 8 seed, a 9 seed. They could lose to a 12 seed, 4 seed. I don't know. The upset potential is always there when you're the number 1 seed.
I get that, but because we haven't made a tournament since 2013, it almost feels like we're kind of invincible. And maybe that's gonna be a downfall eventually.
That's scary though.
Maybe it is, but like even if we lose, I know like that I will never forget this team. And
100%.
We could lose in the second round, and I'll still be so happy for.
It also feels like a continuation of last year, if that makes sense, because they weren't able to go prove it in the NCAA tournament last year. It feels like this season, because a lot of the same guys are there with a little bit of new faces. Obviously, Adam Miller, obviously Andre Cabello, Jacob Grandison, these new faces that come through. But it feels like because the best 2 players are the same best 2 players from last year, it just feels like this has like been the continuation, like it's been building and building for a year and a half, or even 2 years now, and now it's there.
It kind of feels like 2011 OKC Thunder.
Yeah.
Where it's the year that was the year before, and now we're 2012. Now we're we have most of the same guys, but now they're better.
Yeah.
Now they're 1 year more ready. And we've added a few pieces.
Yeah.
We've had some great guys, and now we are ready to make that push for a title. I can't not be excited about this team and not just think like this team is so different than any other team in the past. This isn't like that Brandon Paul, DJ Richardson team. That was a really good team. They probably should have beat Miami in their second round matchup, and there were some weird things that happened. This team is that Indiana team that Illinois beat. It was such a big deal that Illinois beat that number 1 team in the country. Now Illinois is the hunter. Well, would it be hunter or hunted? Both. They're the big dog.
But it's weird because they're both. I feel like all season, right now they're the hunted, right? But all season they've been the hunter, right? Them coming in and having Wisconsin and Iowa, 2 teams that they ended off on wins. Last year swept Iowa or Wisconsin, and then ended off.
It was just 1 win, wasn't it?
I thought they beat them twice.
I'll check.
Nithin's about to do the research. Anyway, last year beat Wisconsin in either both games or only 1 game that they played, and beat Iowa to close out the season. And then you come back with the best 2 players still on that roster, and they're ranked below them, right? You had to be the hunter. Then they went through some really tough, trying times, dropped all the way down to 19. There were some people, including myself, who even questioned if they should have been ranked.
1-1 against Iowa, 1-0 against Wisconsin.
Okay, so 1-0. I was wrong. But had to question if they were even, deserving to be ranked at a point. Go all the way from 19 to second in the country that came out this year, or this past week. I feel like there's this mentality where they feel like they've at some points been disrespected. Obviously, some have to do with their own play, but also just people around them feeling like, oh, Iowa's definitely the best team in the Big Ten this year. Oh, Wisconsin's definitely the best in the Big Ten this year. And them both being able to just handle those matchups every time.
Maybe it's just time to take like a 2011 UConn sort of stance where it's we feel so confident going into this game. We know what we have, and we're just going to roll through you because this team is built for March. I mean,
that's what it is.
It's kind of a cliche, but it's true. They're great defensively. I believe was it like 7th on Ken Palm defensively, top 10 offense. Fantastic guard play. Some of the best guard play in the country. You got the first or second best player in the country. You got the 6th man of the year who is playing like one of the 10 best players in the Big Ten right now.
Yeah.
And
100%.
you have the big guy inside that I don't know who can guard. I don't know any.
I don't think there's a single college basketball player that can guard Kofi Coker.
I haven't seen one, at least.
Yeah, and they played a lot of people in these last 2 years. Well, last year you could make that argument, but this year I don't think so, especially in the last 20 games.
Yeah, he's just a much improved player, and we haven't even gotten into how great the role players have played of late. I'm putting all my eggs in the basket, and I'm totally okay with it.
My eggs are there too. Like, I know I'm always going to sound a little pessimistic about this team. I think that's just my role as a journalist, somewhat.
Fair enough.
A fan journalist, I guess, whatever you'd call me. I'm always going to be a little skeptical because they've let me down in the past, and I've seen that this team, beginning in the middle of the season, I was like, man, this team isn't really that good, and they since then, I mean, have been phenomenal and have proved me wrong in every turn. So thank you. But it's just, I don't know. It's how can you not put the eggs in the basket, man? They're everyday guys. I believe in that so much right now.
How can you not, especially with the last 15 games, winning 14 of them and having one fluky loss against Michigan State?
I've never met Brad Underwood in my life, but I might jump in front of a car for him.
Yeah,
because I want to be an everyday guy. Brad Underwood, if you're listening, it's me.
Just give Brendyn some shorts. Give me
I'll sit on the end of the bench.
He doesn't even need a jersey.
I don't need a jersey, bro. Give me the warm up. I'll clap. You see how many times that Andre Curbelo has fallen in the last few games because they don't mop the floor correctly?
Yeah,
I'll get on my knees and mop the floor for you, Brad Underwood. I would do that for you.
You can be one of those managers that pick up Andre Curbelo.
I would. I'd be right there for my guy. I like him a lot, and I've never met him in my life.
Yeah,
I hope I do one day. But as we look around the rest of the NCAA tournament bracket, there are some good games out there in the first round.
Oh, there are a lot of good games.
Somebody called me and Nithin out on our bracket because we picked all 12 seeds to advance. Didn't realize it.
We got a lot of positive feedback.
We did also get a lot of positive feedback. One of my favorites, Patrick Catazone, who also does a show on this.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's a sports show. I don't know.
No, it's I was talking to him. It's like a Grateful Dead show where he just
it's about the Grateful Dead.
He just plays their music for the entire time. I'm sorry, Patrick. I don't know how often you do it, but I know I think it's Sundays at noon or something like that.
Man, I'm gonna tune in. I don't even really. I mean, not that I don't like them. I don't know them that much.
Yeah, I couldn't name
not
a single
huge
Grateful
rock
Dead
guy, right? But I love Patrick Catazone, so I would definitely do that. But he said that he really liked our bracket, and looking back, I really like it. I'm looking at it over there. It's all chilling in the corner of the bulletin board.
It looks nice with that Illinois national title.
I know. Illini Drive on the top. I'm scared, right? Because what if it's perfect? Knock on wood, it's not going to be. But you think Warren Buffett's going to give me?
I have it on ESPN in case it's perfect.
You do?
Yeah. When we were filling it out, I was filling out.
Well, because I was going to be okay, how do I justify this?
I think I just jinxed it though.
Yeah, it'll be okay. It's not going to be perfect anyway. It's a 1 in quadrillion chance or whatever. Yeah. But I had the receipt from Twitter. I was I posted this on this day before the tournament even started. You think they'd give me the money? Because what is it, $1 billion for a perfect bracket?
I don't think they do that anymore, though. They did. They used to do the million. I think it was Warren Buffett that did the $1 million Yahoo challenge.
Mm-hmm. And he doesn't do it anymore. Nobody ever won. He's soft if he doesn't do it anymore.
Yeah, I think they only did it for 2 or 3 years. Man, that's soft. You can still get
Well, yeah, you can still win
$25,000 or something like that from ESPN.
Wow, bro. Well, yeah, because isn't the best bracket?
Yeah, I think you get some reward.
It's gonna be us. How are you gonna spend your $1,250 or
$12,500?
$12,500. God, that was bad math.
How would I spend it? Let's see. We go to Vegas,
of course.
Can
we wait till May?
Post-pandemic.
Oh yeah, well yeah, definitely. Well then I'll be 21 by then. Because I don't turn 21 till May, but
we'll live it up with the extra $10,000 we got.
I'm down. Let's go. I'm
okay,
excited.
maybe not. Maybe I'll put it aside for a new car.
I could also settle for that. I'm very impartial to what we do as long as we spend it.
Yeah.
But looking at this bracket, looking around, give me your top 3 games that you're looking at right now. for the first weekend. Or for the first, not the first weekend, but the first day.
You want to go back and forth?
Yeah,
I'll
let's
give
go
one.
back and forth.
Okay. The one that stands out the most, and it's one that might surprise a lot of people, Arkansas Colgate.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's two teams that play similar styles. They're very up and down. Colgate, I don't really know exactly what to make of them because they're 14-1, but they've only played, I think, 5 teams the entire season.
Right.
Which is, I mean, that's a weird situation. But they're second in the country in scoring, 86 points per game. They score a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And Arkansas has been playing phenomenal basketball of late. Eric Musselman, we know what he did at Nevada. I think this is going to be a fun game. Arkansas's got a lot of really talented guards, and they've got a lot of great players on that team.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. My first one would be, and you kind of convinced me of this, right? San Diego State is coming in really, really hot, right? They're 6th seed, but they've won however many of their last however many games. They're coming in on a roll, but they have to play Syracuse.
Yeah. Syracuse is always a fun matchup in the tournament.
They've just been here so often. And Boeheim has been the coach of so many great Syracuse teams in the last 20, 25 years, right? I think that, I mean, we picked them on our bracket to win, no?
Yes, we did.
I think that could be a really, really good game. That could shake up a lot because people are really riding on San Diego State, but I do think they got a tough matchup in this first game.
Yeah, they do.
I'm excited, man. What's your next game?
I'm going to go with one that I don't know if the game's necessarily going to be exciting, but I'm excited for the storylines in it. Alabama, Iona.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got Alabama coming in. They just won the SEC tournament. They got great players. I think Herb Jones is the SEC Player of the Year. I'm not exactly sure on that, though. John Petty, Javon Quinterly. Javon Quinterly was Jelly Fam, right? I'm pretty sure it was him and Isaiah Washington.
Yeah, Isaiah Washington and him.
Yeah. So they got some really great players.
Jelly Fam.
And then Iona. Yeah, Jelly Fam. And then Iona, of course. Rick Pitino.
The guy.
Back in the
just
tournament.
got fired.
He will never go away.
Yeah.
It feels like. The scandals can come, and Rick Pitino will keep coming back. I know nothing about Iona basketball other than Rick Pitino, and it excites me.
Didn't they? They weren't like this first seed in their tournament, right?
I don't think so. I think they're like a 500 team.
Yeah, word. Shout out. My next game is this BYU, and I think which will be Michigan State.
That's a good one.
Michigan State obviously is not as, I think, what were they ranked? They were at one point ranked like 4th.
I think 4th, yeah.
Like early in the season.
After they beat Duke.
Obviously, Duke wasn't that good as we thought, even when Illinois beat Duke. But Michigan State had its struggles. But in that week and a half span where they beat Illinois, then Ohio State, then Michigan, the 5th, then the 4th, then the 2nd, or the 3rd in that week span, they showed me that they can. I mean, look, they can put it together at points, right? Obviously, they didn't. They kind of flopped in the Big Ten tournament, which a lot of people didn't see happening. But I don't think really anybody wants to face a Michigan State team, a team that has struggled all year, but is also has that championship or winning DNA in their program for, the last however many decades, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody wants to face them as long as they beat UCLA in the first round, which is also, I think, going to be a good game in that first 4.
That's probably the best first 4 game.
But I'm also looking at this Wichita State Drake game.
That's going to be good, but like there are known guys.
Yeah.
In that UCLA Michigan State matchup, specifically Rocket Watson, Aaron Henry.
Yep.
There's Chris Smith also, but those are some quality teams. That's a really good pick. I'm going to go with my next one, Oklahoma, Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is an 8-9 matchup, but it really feels like a 4-5 matchup.
Yeah.
Missouri seems like a team that was going to stay around that 15-ish mark throughout the season, get a 5, maybe a 6 seed in the tournament. They kind of fell off down the stretch. They still got a 9 seed. Oklahoma, the opposite. Struggled early, was really under the radar, and then they were amazing at the beginning of the Big 12. They got as high as, I think, 7th in the country, and then tailed off a little bit similar to Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of great players. I mean, we know all of these guys from Missouri, the Mark Smiths, the Jeremiah Tillmans of the world, obviously for Illinois rivalry purposes, but they got a lot of really good players. And then on Oklahoma, it all starts with Austin Reeves.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot of really talented, fun players in this matchup.
100%. I would love that matchup. That was going to be mine, but I got one in my back pocket, and it's this Clemson-Rutgers matchup.
Really? Okay.
Very excited because I think Clemson, obviously, 16-7. They've been through the SEC. Obviously, not a top tier team up there, but this Rutgers matchup is scary because they were ranked at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Have Ron Harper Jr., who we've seen torch Illinois, who we've seen torch. Who else did they beat really badly in the beginning of the season in the Big Ten?
Was it Minnesota?
I think they beat Minnesota. I think he went off against Minnesota. But they also have Geo Baker, who's a very exciting player. And I think that they could beat Clemson. And if they find a Houston team that is shaky coming into that game, depending on how they play against Cleveland State, they might make a Sweet 16. I feel like they're like one of those, obviously not the top dark horse candidate, but one of those.
It's not a bad pick for them to go to the Sweet 16.
Yeah. I think did we have them winning in our bracket? Rutgers, that first game?
We had them losing in the second round.
Okay, cool. Yeah, shout out Rutgers, man. I was going to take a break, but there's not a lot of time for a break. So let's just jump right in it, man.
Let's go for it.
You know what I miss?
What do you miss?
The National Basketball Association.
I do too.
This is kind of like a weird period, right? Because it goes
the quote
from
unquote dead period of the NBA.
Right, exactly. It goes from like this season, right, started right before Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Which in a normal season is right where NBA really picks up.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Christmas Day games are kind of like the start of the NBA season, everybody feels like. And then it's really going for like a month and a half, and then the All-Star break happens, and then you come back and March Madness happens. And this is all obviously in a normal year. But the NBA is still going on during March Madness. It's just everybody's attention is focused on the bigger event at the time.
And notably our attention is just because Illinois has never been in this situation.
I mean, if Illinois wasn't in this game, we'd obviously still be talking about March Madness. It's obviously something we would be consuming. It's a fun time. But it's not like we'd be spending an entire show talking about
we wouldn't spend our first 50 minutes
right, exactly.
talking about Drexel, Georgia Tech, and Loyola.
But the NBA is exciting right now, man. Like, first off, the Nets, the Brooklyn Nets, who
I did not see this coming. I'm going to be honest.
After they traded for James Harden?
Yeah, and after Kevin Durant got hurt and started missing a lot of games.
I think I was talking to somebody about this. I think Kevin Durant, if any one of them were to get hurt, they're very, very fortunate that it's Kevin Durant. Because I feel like if KD and Kyrie, or KD and Kevin Durant, who kind of had some gel going on in the beginning of the year before both of them kind of had their injuries or like leave of absences or stuff like that, they were having some gel moments, right? If those two were really great, I would be concerned with how James Harden fit into that after both of them were doing what they were doing, right?
Yeah.
If James Harden and Kevin Durant were doing what Kyrie and James are doing right now, I would feel a little worried about how Kyrie would then feel coming back into that situation.
Yeah, KD can just plug right in.
But the fact that it's KD, and we've seen on two different, tenured teams right now, whether that be OKC with the star power that they had, or whether that be Golden State with the star power that they had, Kevin Durant just fits in. Mm-hmm. He's not gonna mess up rotations. He's not gonna mess up, egos. He's gonna get in. He's gonna put up his 16-ish shots a game. He's probably gonna make 9 of them, and he's gonna, score a lot. And he's gonna have his games obviously where he's Kevin Durant, and he's gonna put up 35, 40 points. He's gonna, do everything that Kevin Durant does, makes him one of the best basketball players in the world. But I'm terrified for when Kevin Durant comes back. Because one, he's not gonna have to do everything offensively. And we've seen what Kevin Durant can do if he focuses on defense. We saw it when he went to Golden State, when he had, to play alongside Draymond Green. He got better on defense. He became one of a really good
Although there isn't
defender.
Really a great defender to play alongside.
100%.
Like, he's going to have to be that great.
He's going to have to be the best defender that they have because they gave up a lot of defenders in order to, acquire this team. But they said they're going to be cautious with him. They said they're still going to give him like a week and a half to come back slowly. But when he comes back, I'm very terrified for this team.
I don't know if I'm as worried about them as you are. I will admit, though, I did not see this coming. I did not see with James Harden and Kyrie Irving being the only guys it working as well as it has, although it kind of makes sense because Harden, this is kind of what he's done since he was traded to Houston.
Yeah.
Is just carry teams single-handedly.
Yeah.
It's more of like, how does he get past the the postseason humps? My concern is still that there is only one ball.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you control that? Because It worked in Golden State, but it really worked for a year, and then the second year was tough, and by the third year, it didn't really work the same way it had in the past. And a lot of it's because like you had a lot of great scorers on that Warriors team, and now it's to a further degree. You have great scorers, but you have much more ball dominant scorers.
Mhm.
You have Kevin Durant, who was the ball dominant guy with Golden State, and now he's supposed to be the third most ball dominant. If we're talking about the guy responsible for scoring, he's the number 3 technically.
Mhm.
I still have trouble seeing that as something that can work. The defense hasn't been as much of an issue as it was early in the season, but how does this work in the playoffs is really the question.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
how do they fit in guys like Blake Griffin? Because I still don't know how that
totally
works.
forgot to talk about that.
Yeah.
That was wild. Didn't see that one happen.
Yeah.
Could have seen him going a different place, but I just don't see him fitting. Like, what does Blake Griffin add? And this, maybe, look, this is my argument for Blake Griffin. Love Blake Griffin. And 2 years ago, he totally reinvented his game and was a very, very good player. For that 1 year, I think
3 years ago, I think.
Was it 1 year? He like finished some, pretty high in MVP voting. I think it was like.
When was wait? It was the Raptors year. So wait, no, that was.
So that's 2019.
That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago, right? And I think it was his first season on Detroit, right?
First or second, yeah.
And he totally reinvented himself. Was a great, scorer. Since obviously the NBA shut down last year, he hasn't been the same. He's obviously went through crazy knee injuries. He's obviously not 2011 Blake Griffin going to go dunk over a Kia. But how much of his poor performance this year, which, I mean, has been poor, there's no way around it, is him not wanting to be on the Pistons?
I mean, he's just been bad, though. Like, he hasn't shot the ball well.
Yeah.
That's concerning. Like, his numbers are, if you look at them, they're just really, 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 really bad. And part of it is because just he wasn't the athletic specimen he was 2 years ago as he was when he was with the Clippers.
Right.
Like, he changed his game, but he also still used a lot of his athleticism. He tried to get into the paint a decent amount, and he would also take threes to complement that. Now he doesn't have that same athleticism. Like, I think I saw a stat where he hasn't dunked since like 2019.
Yeah, that was wild.
Which
I mean, there's a huge gap in NBA play because of the pandemic and stuff, and he didn't play in the bubble. But that is still wild from Blake Griffin,
Yeah, I'm pulling up his numbers right now because they are like, you have to hear them to really know how bad they are. Because Blake Griffin, 2 years ago he was a 24, 7, and 5 guy. That was shooting 46% from the field, 36% from 3 on a lot of attempts, 7 attempts from 3. He's taking 6 threes a game. He's shooting 31% now. He's scoring 12 points a game. He's getting 5 boards, 4 assists. He's extremely inefficient. He's just not the same player that he once was.
So what does he add to Brooklyn?
I mean, maybe you just make him like a rim runner, but
that's not even.
He's not a starter. That's for sure in my mind.
Really?
Because I don't know what he adds to a starting group. Like, I'd rather have Bruce Brown in that starting group.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know who you take out of that starting group to be like, here's Blake Griffin,
Yeah, he seems more like a guy that comes off the bench and maybe he can kind of revitalize some play as the primary guy off the bench.
Yeah.
But it's not a ton to like so far.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. Last hit, obviously, got to talk about the Bulls. They are winners of 2 in a row. They beat the
Thunder.
They beat the Thunder last night or 2 nights ago, and then they beat the Raptors a couple days ago. Really good performances from everybody outside of Zach LaVine. Obviously, we know what Zach LaVine's going to do.
Zach LaVine
last night, though, what do you have? 40 and 3/4.
He had 40 and 3/4
I think
with
I saw
3 free throws.
He didn't miss inside the 3-point line.
I
think he was perfect inside the 3-point line.
He was 15 for 20 from the field, 7 for 12 from 3. Wow. That is nuts.
And shout out to Zach LaVine.
Also, shout out Damian Lillard.
God, how do we not talk about that?
They were down.
He does that. He did that against the Bulls earlier this season.
Yeah, they're down 17 in the third quarter. Storm back. Damian Lillard goes for 50 on 20 shots.
Do you think he could ever win an MVP? I just think it'd be too hard for him.
It's the same thing with why I don't think Steph Curry going into this year was going to win MVP. You just have to be like a 1 or a 2 seed.
Yeah.
He would need another star.
Yeah. That's tough because I honestly I'm in the boat that Steph Curry is the best point guard in the league.
Yeah,
and I've been in that boat for the last 5 years because of what he's done in the last 5 years. But man, if you erase the last, if you erase careers and just drop this year, Damian Lillard's been better.
I'll separate them for different reasons though, because I would say Steph Curry is the better player because Steph does things that Dame can't do.
Right, of course.
Like Dame obviously does stuff like his athleticism, his ability to just overpower guys is something Steph can't do. But Steph's able to play off ball in ways that Dame never has been able to, and I don't know if he ever will be able to.
50 though. What a 50 burger.
He's unbelievable.
He is. It's wild the talent that's in the NBA right now.
Yeah.
But that'll do it for our show. When we come back on Monday, we're either going to be talking about 2 Illinois wins or we're going to be sad that they're not in the tournament.
We're going to be talking about 2 Illinois wins.
Man, tell him, Nithin.
We got to keep knocking, though.
I'm knocking. We're
going to be talking about Illinois getting ready to see Cade Cunningham for the one-on-one matchup of the season.
That scares me, man. That's the one that scares me. But thanks for tuning in. It's been a lot of drive on 107.1 WPGU.